Hey, what's up again, everybody? You know what time it is. Time for some of that NGNWR. No gimmicks needed wrestling radio. Oh yeah, coming at you. I'm your excellent host, The Brand. We'll be talking about all kinds of stuff today. Gonna recap the huge weekend of WWE. I'm going to read some emails. We're going to talk about a lot of things here. It's just me, myself, and I once again here on NGNWR, but that's okay. Last week, I talked up a storm. Almost didn't have time for it all. NGNWR. Here we go. All right. All right, here we go. Wrestling fans, we're on the air. Your excellent host here, The Brand, NGNWR, no gimmicks needed wrestling radio. Remember the name, ladies and gentlemen, getting huger and huger each week. Got all kinds of things going on. Got all kinds of things to talk about. Of course, last week I spent most of the show previewing what was to be a big weekend in the WWE. SummerSlam weekend, you had NXT TakeOver, and then SummerSlam, and then Raw the night after. I kind of want to talk about all that stuff somewhere in there, because just, you know, a lot of things happen, and we've already got the first YN of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Ding, 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 ding. I'll try to keep that down on this episode. I'm focused. I'm determined to try to get rid of the so many Anyway, huge weekend in WWE, and I was able to be present for all of it. Got home from work Saturday night, and immediately started watching TakeOver, and that was, of course, just awesome. Gonna kind of start things off by talking a little bit about that. These NXT shows are just amazing. You know, they prove, there it is again. They prove just time and time again how amazing. Just amazing show that they can put on. There was a few things that I didn't really care for, but they're non cosmetical things. They're things that are very, very easy to fix. It wasn't anything match wise. It's just overall. I mean, whatsoever, every match had a great story to be told with it, and just the whole thing was put together very well. The only complaint I have for the show overall is that it maybe not being there not being that one huge angle. That was something I was kind of looking for and expecting there being some kind of thing that would happen that would be very, very remarkable and that would stand out. Of course, we know NXT has great matches, but they haven't had one of those angles yet that's been really captivating, and that's the one thing that's kind of missing, I think, from what they do. But regardless, solid show up and down. Of course, you had Jushin Liger taking on Tyler Breeze in the opener. This, of course, was everything it lived up to and more. Jushin Thunder Liger, after the storied career, having his first match in WWE, and definitely did not disappoint. Got the show off hot, nice opener, which is something that we didn't see at SummerSlam, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. Of course, big tag team title match. Blake and Murphy taking on the Vaudevillians. The Vaudevillians come away with the tag team titles, and what was a great match as well. Really kept the night rolling there. Of course, there's a big angle with Blue Pants being there to side with the Vaudevillians and help, even out everything with Alexa Bliss. The Vaudevillians get the big tag team title win. That's something that I think NXT really needs to focus on is getting all these teams over, getting more teams over. Now it's kind of thinned out that, they've called up some of these teams like, Lucha Dragons and Ascension and this and that. And they're kind of missing a lot from the tag team division, so I'm really interested to see who ends up challenging for the titles ultimately. Of course, there'll probably be some rematches to come out of these two teams. But after that, you're talking about a pretty clean slate. Besides maybe the Jersey guys, who the names is Enzo and Big Cass. Probably the one of the teams that's of course in waiting for their NXT title run. From there, you had Ty Dillinger taking on Apollo Crews, which was a decent, nice, short little match just to get Crews over as a nice little quick debut. Very, very nicely done. Very well put together match by those two. And of course, from there we have Samoa Joe taking on Baron Corbin. This is something, this is a match a long time in the making in NXT. These guys have been pretty much, this has been, one of the main angles, since Joe's came over. I was really surprised that Corbin, lost here, or he actually ended up passing out. So it's one of those things that's a loss, but it's not a loss type of a thing. So decent for what it was, and will be interesting to see where they go from there. Of course, the next match, a lot of people are going to say was the show stealer of the show. Of course, when you're talking about Sasha Banks defending against Bayley for the NXT Women's title, this match pretty much had it all. It's one of those, definitely an argument for the match of the night. Some crazy spots, crazy physicality by these two girls, and the sooner that these two really make their mark in the business, I think the better. This is what we need all across the board, not just in NXT, but up on Raw and SmackDown and in the WWE as well. Hopefully they will continue the correlation. These girls will get worked up, and then it'll be up to the next round of girls, to go at it in NXT and start really raising the bar yet again. So there's not much I can say about this match that hasn't already been written, of course. And then from there, of course, you can't complain about the main event. Balor taking on Kevin Owens, which was a great match. Really awesome to finally see Balor's entrance in the big arena, which I think came across great. They really couldn't have asked for anything much better than that as far as presentation goes. he's another guy that it's, it's like you wonder how long some of these guys are going to keep in NXT before they try to bring them up to the main roster more and more. There's more and more guys stepping up. The spot at the end of this match, the finish, basically where, the coup de grace from the top of the ladder, just insane. And this is one of the things, being around wrestling, watching wrestling for years, working in the business, being an announcer and show host and all that. Still don't know how this move gets pulled off. It really just, I look at it and I see, Finn Balor drop from the ladder, with the feet, right on the chest of Kevin Owens, and it's like, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how the guy takes the bump without getting his freaking ribs crushed every single time. There's just really no way to take that besides to take it, and hopefully it's not gonna completely knock all your wind out and break a few ribs while they're at it. So that's kind of the gist of what happened at TakeOver. Very, very straightforward. Like I said, the match is great. There was nothing in there, though, that was really angle-wise memorable, of course, as far as pushing forward the angles. Then again, time becomes a factor as far as all this goes as well. These NXT shows are on paper given 2 hours, but because they're on the network, this one especially went pretty long. This one went about 2.5 hours almost, I think, by the time it was all said and done. So they do have that leeway there, since it's just on the network. There's some possibilities there. I would like to see there be some kind of really big NXT angle to follow up with on these shows, and so on and so forth. But anyway, really enjoyed TakeOver. And in fact, not to play spoiler, but it really ended up being probably the meat of the subject and the meat of the weekend. I'll get to talking about SummerSlam a little bit later, and a little bit of my thoughts on Raw as well. I got a lot of other things planned. First and foremost, before we take a break, I do want to mention something else real quick. NGNWR is getting bigger and bigger each and every week. Things are happening. We're getting more listeners. We're getting people wanting to be involved with the show, and things are really going on. One of the things that is kind of a side effect of having this show is that you do get messages, email responses, things like that. My email has been blowing up these past 2 or 3 weeks that we've had shows. I haven't even checked it really, but it's like all of a sudden there's all these messages in there now. I don't know how these people even got my email for the show in the first place. Just so you know, it's the brand at ngnwr.com. So if you want to pass me along an email, the brand at ngnwr.com, that's where I'll be at. You can ask me whatever you want, or almost whatever you want. Pretty close. And I'll try to answer it for you the best I can. So I am going to go ahead and read some of those emails later for you guys. That way, that way you can see some very interesting stuff as far as all that goes. So right now, what we're going to do, since the night's still young here, I'm going to go ahead and roll into break. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about SummerSlam, Raw the night after, and so on and so forth. So you're going to want to listen to what my thoughts are about all this going down. So anywho, this is the brand, NGNWR, No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling Radio, and we'll be right back with you.
You have to pass the test to be among the best. If you got a mess, you have to pass the test and get it off your chest. Got to feel the boom, you got to be the boom, is not the thing to be. Got to be the best, you have to pass the test to be a champ like me. You have to pass the test if you want to see the rest. Pass the test is not to see the rest, to be among the best. Got to feel the boom, you've got to be the boom, is not the thing to be. Got to be the best, you have to pass the test to be a champ like me. You have to pass the test to be among the best. If you got a mess, you have to pass the test and get it off your chest. Got to feel the boom, you've got to be the boom, is not the thing to be. Got to be the best, you have to pass the test to be a champ like me.
Alright, what's up everybody? We're back and we're live here on the air in GNWR, No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling Radio, recapping the big SummerSlam weekend with you here. I want to go ahead and break down the card real quick, give you my thoughts on it. Of course, this was quite an interesting show overall. You know, it did have a lot of great things going for it, a lot of things that, you know, I'll start at the beginning, all right, just to not, you know, waste any time. Just going to delve right into it. There's a lot of matches on this show, 10 matches, and actually all of them happened, which I was really surprised of. Usually, you know, they try to do these 4-hour shows, and then the pacing just ends up so bad somewhere along the way that a match ends up getting cut. Usually, sometimes when it goes to 10 matches, but they were able to have all the matches and still had some time left over. There were a couple things time wise that I would have changed it, if I wanted to play armchair booker for a second. One of the main things being the opening match. Sheamus and Orton in the opener. Wasn't really feeling this, as the opener, to be honest with you. I'm not going to even comment on it, because you know what I did, folks? You know what I did, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? As soon as I saw this was the opening match, I was like, all right, well, smoke break. I'm like, I kind of wanted a cigarette anyway, so, I went ahead and completely missed this whole match. To be honest with you, didn't get to see what happened as far as I go. Apparently, Sheamus ended up winning. I'm not going to say whether it was good or bad or in between. I just was kind of taken aback that was the opener, and adjusted my schedule accordingly. So there you go. The opener was Sheamus defeating Randy Orton. The next match, of course, the big tag team title match, 4-way tag team match. Primetime players defending against the Matadors, the Lucha Dragons, and the New Day. And thank goodness, by the grace of Vince McMahon himself, I tell you what, the New Day ends up winning back the tag team titles. Nice, solid match here. There's all this up in the air about the ending being potentially botched. Not sure if it actually was a botch and they just covered it up with something that they did as far as video wise. Excuse me, but everything it did seem kind of odd though how the announcers played up the whole, oh, did he tag in or did he not, kind of a thing. Usually they're on top of that, and if it's not something that's a part of the angle, they're just going to let it go. But I was really surprised to see them talk so much about it, especially right after the match got over with. But of course, New Day, long overdue getting those titles back. In fact, Primetime Players' reign, I don't think should have ever happened in the middle of this. The whole summer, I think, should have been about the New Day being the tag team champions. They were weird, kind of like face over with the New York crowd. At least that's what it seemed like to me. Anyway, next match is Rusev and Ziggler. It's great to see Ziggler back. It's great to, I was hoping that this would kind of be a match that kind of sealed the deal as far as this whole angle and this whole feud goes, but apparently not. It ends up in a no contest. So, and then by Raw the next night, of course, we see that is indeed continuing on. Their rivalry, their feud, whatever you want to call it, is just getting started. So that could be good news or bad news, depending on who you are. Of course, it was rumored a couple months back when Ziggler's contract was getting renegotiated that he wanted to be a bigger part of things, wanted to be in the mix, so to speak, as one of the top guys. And really, I'm not seeing that with this angle with Rusev. Not sure where it's headed. Don't really like where it's headed. Don't really care where it's headed. To be honest with you, even though I love Dolph Ziggler and I think Rusev's cool too. That's just me being honest with you right there as far as that goes. Oh my goodness, hitting the coffin spells over here. But, I ain't going to edit this out or nothing because it's real. This is real life. This is the brand talking with you here about what he loves. One of the things he loves, of course, the sport. I like to call it a sport still. I think, but whatever you want to call it. Professional wrestling. Where was I? Anyway, SummerSlam, that's right. Next match was our celebrity match. Stephen Amell and Neville taking on King Barrett and Stardust. Don't remember much about this match, to be honest with you. From what I remember, the actor did a pretty good job. He was able to do some more stuff that a lot of the celebrity stars don't get to do as far as physically in the ring. And it is what it is. It's your typical celebrity match. Of course, if I was there in the arena, it probably would have been a good time for a bathroom break or a smoke break or something like that. I think I did possibly maybe smoke during part of this match, or maybe that was during Rusev Ziggler. And I did end up catching this tag team this tag team match here with the actor. And what I gathered from it, great. He did definitely a solid job. Nice little quick little match to get that over. And he seemed like he was over with the spots he did. So that's nothing but a win-win for WWE, of course. And then from there, you have Intercontinental title match. Ryback, Miz, and the Big Show, and this triple threat match, this angle which never seems to freaking end, because Ryback's been on the shelf. This match was supposed to happen, I don't know how many events ago, or something along these lines. I think it was originally Ryback, Miz, and I don't know. Anyway, they've been feuding all summer, and hopefully this will kind of be, the end of it. It doesn't really look like that, though, necessarily from what happened on Raw. From what I remember, we'll have to go over that a little bit later. But this match is one of those things. Probably one of the low lights of the night. Just unfortunately, three guys that are just kind of there, and I'm a fan of all three of these guys. Ryback, Miz, Big Show, all these guys I love and respect, but they're all just kind of out there, and Ryback, of course, has been given this run with the IC title. Definitely one of those situations, I think, where it's more of the title's making the guy, and the guy is not necessarily making the title. I think it was great for him to get the chance to be the Intercontinental Champion, but he so far hasn't, of course, done anything too memorable with what he's been given. Of course, being on the shelf doesn't help his case either. So maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on him, but it's just not one of those classic Intercontinental title matches that this card really needed. And I think that's something, I've been tossing this card over in my head ever since it happened, because I knew I was going to talk about it on the show. And that's actually something that I never really thought to myself, but I'm just kind of thinking of just now as one of the big things that was missing from this show. Was there wasn't really that second really good title match. This Intercontinental title match, would have been something a lot more special, of course, if Daniel Bryan wasn't on the shelf. It would have definitely been, but who knows? I mean, the card could have been completely different, had Bryan been healthy. So, hindsight's 20/20 on that. Fact of the matter is, though, you look up and down this card, it was missing that other singles title match, as far as I'm concerned, and it really didn't help much to break up the monotony of the card. especially since the card ended with 3 matches that weren't title matches, was another thing I thought was very strange. Uh, it was going fast. Every match was very, very quick. By this point, I think going into the Roman and Ambrose and Wyatt and Luke Harper match, going into this, I believe. I mean, gosh, I don't even think we were close to the 2-hour mark at this point in the show yet. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe we had just eclipsed the 2-hour mark, but the show seemed like it was going really, really fast. There wasn't a match that had slowed down the pace at all up to this point. So that, of course, was something that I didn't necessarily enjoy about how the show was put together, I guess. Me being the stickler for arrangement that I am. But anyway, next match was Roman and Ambrose taking on Wyatt and Harper. This was a great little match, but then again, it was another quick one. I definitely think by the time this match was over, we had hit probably right around that 2-hour mark. So all the matches, you look at it, gosh, 6 matches in 2 hours, about 20 minutes per match, but you put in entrances and all the stuff in between and here and there. This card was really just cooking quick. And then they put the title match on after that. That was something I really didn't understand. It was, of course, welcome to see at that point, because of you knew that Rollins and Cena were going to slow it down and have a nice, at least 20-minute or so encounter for the WWE title. So it was nice, but definitely strange placement. I understand why they did place it there, because they wanted Undertaker and Brock to close the show. There wasn't another match that was really, main event worthy. No disrespect to Cesaro and Owens, but I think if the matches would have been switched around and they would have put Cesaro and Owens in this spot, I think that match would have gotten a lot more over, because the crowd at that point was just dying, thirsting, and hungering for a nice long match that had some great finishes and had some great action throughout the whole thing. And of course, their appetite did get whetted by Rollins and Cena. But I think that match would have been better suited going right before Undertaker and Brock. You wonder who made that call there. Of course, Rollins ends up beating Cena by interference with Jon Stewart. This is another thing that the people on the internet going crazy about how that didn't make any sense. And I do get that, but at the same time, I looked at it for what it was. It was going to be that moment that WWE got all its publicity for Jon Stewart being there. Sure enough, if you watched any of the news channels the next day, that was the clip. Was Jon Stewart. That was all that the news channels were talking about, was that Jon Stewart was involved in the circus of a thing called the WWE, and here he is hitting John Cena with a chair. John Cena, the most recognizable worker in the WWE. So that's it's brilliant on their part for them to do it that way. Of course, they wouldn't have done it any other way. So there you have that. Then you had the women's match, which was a nice, quick, nothing really, of course, nothing compared to the NXT women's title match. But anyway, it was a three team tag team match, 3 teams of 3. PCB ended up getting the win there over the Bellas and Team Bad. And then, like I mentioned, then he had the Cesaro and Owens match, which was a great match. I think they could have let him go a little bit longer. They would have given him 5 more minutes. The show wouldn't have went overtime, and I think they would have gotten a lot better finish out of it. It seemed to kind of to end quickly. And like I said, I think if they would have switched that in the title match, probably would have went a lot better. But it is what it is. Cesaro ended up getting the win over Owens, surprisingly enough, which is very, very interesting because with Owens getting the loss the night before, so it was just kind of, that was something that was a little bit puzzling to me. Actually, wait a minute, I completely botched that. Owens won that match. How funny is that? Huh. Anyway, I totally botched that. I'm looking at a list of the results here and just kind of thinking about my thoughts on the show, and I'm glancing at the results, and it's just I'm recalling, okay, that's who won, and this is my thoughts of it, whatever. Secrets revealed. That's how I do it sometimes, and this website that chooses to remain nameless had that part of the card completely wrong. I knew that wasn't right. I knew Owens ended up getting the win, and that those statements were just completely irrelevant on my part. But anyway, the match could have went a little bit longer, but it was great. It was unfortunate that the crowd, I don't think, could really invested into it because it was a break, basically, for what the main event was going to be. You're talking Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, big rematch. 18 months in the making from when Brock ended the streak. They had a pretty nice build to it, at least had a lot of people interested in it from what I could tell. And the match didn't disappoint, to a degree. People have been saying these last few WrestleManias, I'll go on the internet and hear people commenting and read articles about how Taker, looks slow and he needs to go ahead and retire and, all this. And I would read all these things and I'd just be like, you're crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like, I would get so much, even dating back to his match with Lesnar, the WrestleMania match they had. I thought he moved way better in that, even than this. The Undertaker that was at Mania and the Undertaker that was at SummerSlam, I'm finally starting to see I don't think is the same guy. Unfortunately, I think we're really, hopefully for his sake, seeing what's going to kind of be the last of his big matches like this. He definitely seemed very laboring to me for the first time it was ever apparent in this match. It just didn't have that pace that take it up another notch type thing that his matches have had. At least a lot of the big Undertaker matches. I think that there's just a lot more to be desired from the match, a lot more left on the table. Of course, the finish didn't help matters. I hated the finish, but it is what it is. They do this thing where Taker apparently taps out, but the ref doesn't see it. But the guy the timekeeper rings the bell anyway. And there's this big awkward moment where the ref is arguing with the timekeeper. Hey, why'd you ring the bell? You know, blah, blah, blah. Why, you know, did you do that? I'm the one that calls for the bell. Why'd you ring the bell? And that allows Taker to get Brock in his own submission and, you know, the Hell's Gate. And from there, Brock doesn't give up. You know, his last act of defiance. He flips Taker off and passes out, and Undertaker wins via pass out, I guess is what you'd refer to it as. So anyway, SummerSlam, those are my thoughts on it. Just to kind of wrap things up here, I definitely enjoyed the show, but there was a lot of things that I of course I'm going to sit here and nitpick, because that's what I like to do. And, you know, I love to play that armchair booker, or that armchair arranger, as you will, because I am the Ranger. And when you're in Texas, look behind you, because that's where the Ranger is going to be, folks. I'm going to take a really quick break here, real quick, because I'm running out of time on this damn show. When I come back, I want to answer some emails real quick. I also want to give a couple little thoughts about Raw and the finals of Tough Enough, hopefully. Not a complete rundown like I did of the SummerSlam card, but just, you know, we'll talk shop. You know, we'll talk some coffee talk, a little bit more stuff here on NGNWR. That's No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling Radio. You're hanging with the brand, and we're taking our last little music break here of the show. I'll be right back with you. I'll miss you. Until then, I'll talk to you soon. Hey, what's up, everybody? Back here, the brand on NGNWR, no gimmicks needed wrestling radio. Here to wrap up the show with y'all here in our closing segment. Like I mentioned at the beginning, at the top of the show, we here at NGNWR, or me here at NGNWR rather, for the most part, things are blowing up. We're getting some emails. You can send me some email at thebrand@ngnwr.com. And I checked the emails. I'm just going to go ahead and read a few of them here for you and answer them. This is going to be really cool. I'm really excited because this is something I've never gotten to do before on the show. Here I am, the 7th episode of this grand show here. Glenn Joseph writes to us. I don't know if I could say their full name. Probably just say Glenn J. Anyway, Glenn J wrote to me, why do you suck so bad? And I had to laugh, you know what I mean? Because when you receive an email like this, it really I guess it kind of means that you've arrived in a way. So I'm not going to really delegate it with an answer, but Glenn, thanks for your input anyway. You don't need to listen to the show, I guess. If you think I suck, there's hundreds of thousands, millions even of videos on YouTube for you to listen to or watch, or podcasts out there for your enjoyment. Mike F. Sent me an email saying, who do you think Taker will face at Mania? This is, of course, very interesting. The way they did the match with him and Brock, I think it definitely leaves that open. That's a possibility to have Taker and Brock 3. Will that happen? Not sure. It's definitely, I think that's, as far as in my mind, though, that would be kind of the front runner next to a match with Sting. Obviously, that's what I would want, in my mind. But I'm not sure if the Sting match is really something that's still in the cards or on the table. So, unfortunately, I think we'll probably see Taker, maybe Taker Brock do another one. We might see something else from Taker, but that's what I would go with right now. That's what it looks like. Is that they'll have a rubber match, as they like to call it, at WrestleMania. So there you go. I had another guy send me an email. Some guy just goes by the name of Fapper John. He wrote to me. He said, "Bring back Zach Winters." Is all he said. So, Fapper John, definitely am trying to work on having Zach back on the show with me. I did, mention that we had some technical problems. Trying to find out a better way for guests to actually be on the show with me that are from long distance. And this would include talking to Zach Winters and some of the other wrestling personalities that I am have some connections to and want to get on the show with me eventually. That is going to happen. But Rome wasn't built in a day. Please be patient. We will have Zach and many others back on the show as we go along. Mike L. asked me, "Hey Brand, love the show. Just wanted to ask if you could form a stable of any 3 or 4 guys in WWE, who would they be, and what name would you give to them?" And this is something I actually had a few different possibilities down on paper, but I don't really see any of them now. So just off the top of my head, I would say one thing that I think should be done is really take some of the more muscle-bound guys, and put them together as far as maybe like a big stable of monster dudes that they could just put together. Looking down the roster, there's a lot of guys though that are definitely underutilized. You look just up and down the board. It's something that I definitely should have put a little bit of more thought into. But I would say, Ryback is a guy that I think would be good with a stable. He's a guy that I think would have a boost, maybe being a stable leader of some sort. You could put him in there with a couple of the bigger forgotten guys. Just kind of looking down the roster here. You got, a guy like Swagger, who's not doing nothing. Supposedly, possibly maybe on the way out, unfortunately. But you got Swagger in there. You got Mark Henry as well. Not really doing much of anything, but getting injured, every few months. I talked earlier about guys like Big Show. And maybe Miz doesn't really fit the mold of that. But just off the top of my head here, I would say, let's form some kind of a stable of monsters. There would be like Ryback, Mark Henry, and probably the Big Show is like the third guy. I'm not really sure what they would be called, but at least it could give all these guys a nice little easy gimmick to play off of and do something cool like that. So there you go, Mike. There's my thoughts on putting a stable together. Just got a few more here to wrap up this email segment. Scott T also asked me, hey Brand, I heard you're a fat ass. What's your favorite food? I am a little bit, I wouldn't say, Scott, I wouldn't say I'm really like a fat ass. Unfortunately, I've got probably like a cortisol issue, so all my fat kind of goes to my stomach. I do have a big fat gut though. And, I really, to be honest with you, I never met a food that I didn't like. The Brand just tonight actually enjoyed a nice roast beef sandwich, so I'll give you that. My favorite food is whatever I'm eating at that moment, and just have me a nice little roast beef sandwich. So there you go, Scott T. Eat it up, pal. Also, I got the women emailing me. The Brand's a married man, happily married, of course. But Amy V writes in to me, really loved the SummerSlam episode last week. What is your favorite SummerSlam match of all time? That's very interesting. I don't think I actually mentioned that on the show. Really, I talked about a lot of my favorite memories, but I hate to put that final stamp on things. Off the top of my head, I want to say SummerSlam match that probably meant the most to me would probably be either when Bret Hart won the Intercontinental title from Mr. Perfect, SummerSlam 91, or when Austin won the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 97 when he got paralyzed. Was really looking forward to that, a huge deal, and of course, what happened is what happened with it, and unfortunately, that's what ultimately cut his career short. Those are really two of the big ones that stand out in my mind. And there's been a host of others, of course, but there you go. There's two of them for you there, Amy. Thanks for writing in. Everyone, if you want to email me, go ahead and email the brand at ngnwr.com. I might read them on the show if I think they're entertaining enough or they're relevant enough to the subject. I'll go ahead and do a little talking about it. But I am going to kind of wrap things up here on the show. Like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about Raw. Maybe a little bit of Tough Enough. I really don't have a time to get into it a whole lot. But of course, Raw I thought was a solid episode overall. Things that stuck out in my mind, of course, the Brock Lesnar segment at the beginning with Bo Dallas, him getting destroyed, a big part, of him basically saying his goodbyes. We'll see Brock in a few months. We all know how that routine typically goes down with him. I did think it was very well done how they did everything with Rollins. All the segments throughout the night. Building up what was to be the big unveiling at the end of his statue, which didn't quite end up working out for him. Really surprised that they went this route. Of course, ended up being Sting underneath the thing. He attacks Rollins, and apparently just like that, bing bang boom, a match is signed for Night of Champions, with Rollins defending the title against Sting, which is just huge in all the realness of it when you really sit back and think about it. Just wow. Here's Sting finally going to be not only in a WWE match, but in a match for the WWE Championship, which is something that another first that we didn't think we'd ever see him in the WWE ring to begin with, but here he is. Very surprised that they went with this as another one of his high-profile matches, because he can't be signed for many. So definitely interested to see where that all goes. Definitely surprised that they dropped everything with Cena so quick to go to this. Really makes you wonder, okay, well, where's Cena headed now as far as everything goes, and how does it relate to everything that's going on? So that's why you got to keep watching, fans. I'll be here to talk about it with you every week, talk you through it, tell you how it's all going down and what the brand's thoughts are on it. That kind of wraps her up. Josh and Sarah won Tough Enough, so that's cool. Congratulations to them. Hopefully this is the start of a good career for both of them. We'll see how that pans out. And by the sound of that music, fans, that means it's about time for me to wrap her up. When that music comes crashing in, it's time for the brand to wrap it up. So I want to thank everyone for joining me again. Anyone who is listening to this, all 10 of ya. No, I'm not sure who's all listening, but hey, you got to keep it going. That way people have something to listen to. And for me, I do this for the people, but the brand is not ashamed to admit that the brand does it for himself as well. That's something I learned today that I'll share with y'all. It's a nice such a nice diary, if you will. Go back and just listen to what was going through my mind week after week. That's why I keep coming back. I love it. It's a nice documentation of where my head's at, what I'm thinking about. Greatest form of entertainment ever put out there, professional wrestling. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to play some Xbox One, I think. Maybe put on some WWE Network. I don't know. This is the brand. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you for joining me. Listen to NGNWR. Thank you for listening to NGNWR. No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling Radio. It's the brand. This is the brand. Saying see you in the front row. See you next time.